Shane, I'm Kela Kanongo Wangwena wa shift. It's a beautiful Tuesday. Libizolaka Kenaka Mobombe. It's about Tabela Hahol and Nano Larnakacheko. We're talking about a very important topic. There's been a lot of attacks because they feel like they don't belong here. They feel like they feel like the business which I don't know why, because they celebrate
what doesn't make sense? What doesn't make sense? And the sad thing, the entire world is looking at us as Africans, and then at the same time, Africa. Africa, because South Africa is part of Africa as a continent, and Africa. And everybody, freedom, but to never exile. Today we celebrating 21 years of freedom. Exile in it wasn't here. It was in other countries, Africa.
And you know what's said? But whenever we live on kumle kabareng, funana no kokwameng, funana no nifunu ya gupikona la pe angola imala. Often la pa actually what I lo muntu lo washona ngithi ba mathekile gupi.
It's very sad. It's very sad. And as shift SABC, we completely and strongly condemn the attacks because some of the people Xenophobia. So today we understand or media out of proportion. So today and our poll question today, are they xenophobic attacks in your community? Or 08391333720 or SMS code 33720 shift at sabc.co.za email arena. Look on social media, please let's set the conversation going. Shift on SABC1. But for now,
on a lighter note today, for now, are you a young community shaper? If you answered yes, then today on the show we're launching a very exciting competition where you can 60,000 for first place and 30,000 second place. Kifilo and Temba are here in studio. But more information on how you can enter and obviously win. Kifila? Temba.
Yes.
You should play the blazer, not the team lady blazer.
It's almost like a medal community shape. Every time we win, you get this.
Young Community Shaper Awards.
Basically, it's a competition that you have to enter every single year. By the 20th of March, it's the 13th of June. So I enter on a competition that's been running for at least a year. I enter on the competition, and then you have to write about 300 essay words.
Yeah.
What your project is doing, just explaining the basic things that project they have.
Temba, I know you're one of the community shapers.
Veterans.
You know, veterans back in the days. But for those who don't know, or maybe Araba explain community shapers and why is it so important?
Community shaper in 11 years era no nabanong itomile ke msadi o ba reng ke Sanet Yeland. Man wetsi kamkho ambotsang ka teng before I thoma nanya go far back to the community and then nanya go acknowledge batho ba ira mmereko mo important go community, especially ba banyana wa ngudisiza. That's why the age restriction is between 16 and 25. Yeah, hore o izo ba encourage man or saimela dilo little mo wena. When they involved and then just to acknowledge them.
And also the important thing, a project that must be running already.
Yeah.
It's not because of Onyogo win.
Yeah.
Corona project to uplift the community already.
Yes, yes.
The project is it the feeding scheme?
Man, why is it anything goes? If when are you giving something go community how, let's say you coach a soccer team or on a feeding scheme or ruta banaga homework or is long or the keeper busy America community and you between the age of 16 and 25, then it qualifies. And if you haven't started,
start now.
Come on, immediately. On good disease. So that's more or less.
If you look, when I project the finger run and go community how? Last year.
Yeah, project year I to me like 2012. It's called Life After Matric. It's basically born after the challenges and negative facing when I was in matric, having to take a gap year, and some of the things I get to learn on because I first enrolled at UCT for 3 years. I was doing a biochem degree, but then my career decision I have based on the information because decided based on my marks that I have and just a little that I had. So I decided during that is me painting the internet cafe that I just opened after winning the competition.
Nice.
So with the 60 grand, we used it to like uplift the project. The whole study open day for Banaba School grade 12, Modikolong in my community. And then we started that because we want to impart the computer skills among our youth. Because our high schools are doing computer labs. So now what you find, universities are talking about online application, they're talking about download forms and all of that. But then arena, those skills. Then come on the longest queues at varsity, the STEMPs and all of that. So they become affected.
So what's a winner about monitor because especially batch how fetsa go ina child ba very excited. Project.
Denny and Sanet build a very strong support. So when you're in contact with and also on the day of the event, at the gala event, you meet a lot of people. So some people I met them, like this lady who go mid-rent. So own a bike company, but then all volunteer that I'm gonna work with you on this journey and then on whatever that's going on. So you form relationships and they help you out when you're thinking about how to invest with the money so that our age and then come and the project is just lost.
That's what I like community shapers. They make sure the project is sustainable, even moving forward. Temba, for somebody who is on a project right now, what can you say to them?
I will say yako Facebook page Young Community Shapers. They would look information already contact them or you can even just drop them a message go Facebook Young Community Shapers or you can go to a website there SABC Education.
Plus the context is logo screen.
You're gonna look at information and then no need to create form to fill in. Write your essay. You it's already clear as possible. Write a contact number or phone and then send it over and then they will contact you.
And it's all learning this year.
Oh, they say it's all like the 13th of June. So the earlier the better. Remember post office it's as so Simelo post the 13th of June. Do it now.
And also because the project didn't everybody will be entering. Thank you, and good luck to this year's winner. And good luck with the project and continue to do the great work.
Thank you.
All right, to hopefully some of those details, website in shift.co.za, more details about the community shapers competition. Otherwise, today to begin and another question are there xenophobic attacks in your community now? In our community, and we are live, you're able to talk to us as well. Rikhadi Brabathana zakhambenganya mishumo yasho mntasekhaya namhlanje sithetha ngendaba enzima yezenophobia apho abantu balapha eMzantsi Afrika ba-atheka abanye abantu abaphuma kwamanye amazwe kwalapho ku-Afrika le yethu bathi kufuneka babuyele emakhaya. Sometimes sithi mhlambe bayabacaphukela nje just because baphuma ngaphandle. Sometimes kukhona issues ezikhoyo esingazaziyo. So namhlanje siyakumember please khawusifone uxoxe bana kwenzeka ntoni kweyakho community 083 913 3720 or SMS ku 33720 shift@sabc.co.za email yethu na ku social media sikhona macala mastethen betuna kamkari na re bolle maAfrika borwa gore na bothata keng wa re lwantsha maAfrika a mangwe a o tsona ke ntšha ka ntle mara e le re ka Afrikeng ka moka le faska mka le re lebeletse le faska bophara ba re lebeletse ba re maAfrika ba lwa go diregileng re ketika tukologo ya 21 years today mara re alwa bothata keng a re bolleng ka tebo today ka ba bona le batlo tsenang ba re botse re na botsebotse re dieng botsebotse re ka kgona gore re lwantshe bang ntwe ene ntwe nthabishang kudi gore le mo social media ke lebeletse ba bantshi ba re nna tabe wa rena le yona in our areas, in our provinces, in our communities, because we are all brothers and sisters to Africa mkarena kam ka garena batho modimo kam.
All right, let's meet our studio guests ba gore ba tlo re fatlholela gore why re le ma South Africa re kwatile so butsantsi unjani ngaqobisi ngemika Solomon.
Shab.
How you say?
Great, nice to meet you.
How's Solomon?
Hi. Unjani sisi?
Ngiyaphiwa kanjani sisi?
Uthi Khamadi? Lega.
Rodini ka.
Sisilebu. Uzokwazi ukuhlala?
Yeah, get right there.
Okay, uhlala la.
Hi, come on.
Go for space.
Yeah, for space.
Okay.
Nakhana di camera.
In fact, before you go to guesting, go social media straight, go Twitter. Umalusi Sito si Ari, no, that's not happening in my community because we asked you a question, a poll question into bana wena is xenophobic attacks in the community yako. Uti, no, that's not happening in my community. Actually, in my province, we love and respect all Africans. And Mr. Chilwani, in Bushbuck Ridge, we have never experienced xenophobia. We live in harmony with our brothers and sisters from Zim and other places. Now, Lady Nkwe, some of them are here, but there are few. But now it's in Alex and Soweto. Lots of them are there as we speak right now. Thandokazi Mbongi ati ayikabikho apha kuthi siyabathanda bethuna sibizana oh my friend kuse Cape Town. And then okay, Oliphant are on shift naki dula muleji, and there is no xenophobia. We live with our brothers from Africa. Ko Facebook aspiti Bwinielo Zem Mapil are no xenophobia in Kuruman since the Say No Xenophobia campaign was introduced in our community. And then Raisibe Ma Kobzen are yes, and this thing is stressing me to bits. What about our sisters and brothers who went to other countries? Please, South Africans, let these xenophobic attacks come to an end with the spirit of God, please. Kucho na Facebook.
Masi explain define ukuthi yini xenophobia and yini Afrophobia.
I think calling like a definitions guti, what is it exactly? Guti is xenophobia by the standards that it's always been guti. We are boyika abantu basekwezi ndawo, but generally it doesn't seem to me that it's actually fear. Guti yani uyamoyika umuntu but uba ucapkela into ethile mhlamba yenzileyo as they say about thatha umsebenzi wami. Whereas I suppose now kuthiwa Afrophobia because ayenzeki mhlamba kumuntu osuka eEngland okanye osuka eParis
or eChina, oChina sithi bahleli
bahlala kungxaki kulondela. Asithi bathatha imisebenzi yethu ba i-businesses ziyavala ngoba abantu bahamba bayothenga Chinatown. So ngesihamba sothenga Chinatown, so there's a bit of a problem with that.
I actually agree with Kanti, and I've said that we need to stop calling it xenophobia. Let's call it what it is. It's self-hate. For me, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing like woyika umdu. We all know that what you are scared of, you repel.
Yes.
You keep away from. So why attack if you are scared of these people? Uboyika ndoni, and if you are boyika kutheni ubabulala, kutheni ubalimaza. Why don't you stay away?
Siyaboyika okanye ilento yomona into bana lithatha ngokuxhanjwe bana bathatha imisebenzi yethu or bavula amashishini wabo abe successful than ispaza zethu. Akusiboyika oko.
Yeah, ngumona nenzondo ne-self-hate. Kaloku you must remember, you know, we can always take it back. City during Apartheid, black was pitched against a black person, and I know it's a lousy excuse. We can always argue that, but the bottom line, if you look at it properly, yinzondo, self-hate. How do you hate and kill umuntu ofana nawe ngebala? Does it make sense?
Yeah. I think the bottom line also there is for me, is not the Afrophobia or xenophobia, it's the phobia that's there. The phobia is a fear. And sometimes it's a fear that you created for yourself or external fears, and then you react to it in a very not so good way. You know, I mean, you've read a couple of maybe tweets, is it tweets or Facebook messages saying there's no xenophobia in our area, in where we live and all that. But I feel there's xenophobia everywhere. You know, I feel it might not be physical, but verbally there is xenophobia.
And also physically, as in not violent.
Yes.
But you experience it.
Yes.
I mean, you experience it I remember there was an article 2 years ago where some Nigerian wives union was they were marching. Do you remember? They were marching, and they also on 702 because of the way that they were victimized as wives of Nigerian men, and their children were being victimized at school on the basis of their names. So even though it's not physical,
it's
there. You know, it's non-verbal. You feel it. You know, you bring your partner, for example, when your wife takes you to meet the family, and go to yo, uchate na babantu. You know, so immediate. It's the reaction from the community, not only just from the family. It's also the whole community. So it's almost like they always have to prove a point. And for me, it doesn't make sense when we're in Africa.
I wanted to come to you directly, Khabib, because what happens? Why should we be like that as human beings? Why religion?
Because all of this thing, self-hate, I think history in this case, self-hate. E bonahala e tobile only batho ba batsho ba hlang naheng ena rona ya Africa. Also ke batla ho lokisa taba ena ya phobia. Although re bitsa phobia, ha se phobia ya hore re tshaba batho bana. It's both you know, the fear, unreasonable fear, as well as hatred. Ya batho ba ileng hore ha ba tshwane le rona. And ntone ke ntwe e batlang le natural you know, bophelong go busisa. Mar e qaka South Africa mona e qaka ka yona ntwe ya hore e batla e tobile only batho ba hlang Africa. Then mohlomong hantse re tswela pele ka lenane re tla khona hore re bueng hore na ke eng tse ntseng hore re be vulnerable re iphumane re le batho ba e leng gore re vulnerable bakeng sa gore ho etsahale ntho e etsahetseng ena. Ho na le ntho tse ngata tse etsahetseng South Africa mona, from colonialism ho tla apartheiding ho tla difaqaneng, ba bang ba lona le tla hopola taba ya difaqane hore even before ho tla batho ba kantle ho no ntse ona le diqhwebeshano tseo tse bileng teng. So ho na le ntho tse ngata tse leng hore di etsa hore di be vulnerable, ha di cause violence, but di etsa hore re be vulnerable towards experiencing violence.
Oslebu, wena ore batho bana they don't belong here, tshwantse ba tsamaye. Why?
Kamu, you know what, when we grow up, re khotse ba re gona le makwerekwere, ba re gona le matebele. And then that thing, I want to make it clear, it doesn't mean it's a self-hate, whatever, hater, but because they're African, whatever. It was like that. And a long time ago, this thing, it was not like Rona, whatever. Just because of this new generation and these things that in our community.
Which things?
Because of
which things?
Okay, I'll come back to you. Because of these things that more community in Rona, selling drugs, bana ba rona ba itswa di prostitute, house hijacking. You know, in a one area go be le di churches di ka ba 40. Mara ele nation e one. It's not clear why because when we go to some churches, Lutheran church, all of us South Africans in the area will know there is a Lutheran church in the corner there. We go there. Then if it's a ZCC church, we go there. But to open the other church here, then the other church, don't you see something is happening? But I really don't know.
So when I go community mo dulang ko teng le feel gore batho ba le reng lona ba tswa ko ntle ke bona ba tlisang crime ko community ya
crime.
Really? You know what, I'd like to I'd like to actually respond to this. And I think it's actually unfortunate, Lebo, that is how you feel. Crime is a symptom of every society. Even America, everywhere you'll find there's issues around crime. And these crimes that you are talking about, there's no evidence, except for an article in the newspaper, it's one once in a while, airing these crimes are actually specifically linked to the foreigners. I think it's rather unfortunate, you believe, the criminal element that South Africa is facing comes from that. I think Ndate is right when he says that there are a lot of factors that we need to take into consideration before we can even get to that type of thinking. Crime. Prostitution has been prostitution, I don't know, from whenever. And I mean, I grew up in Berea. Now you must understand, Berea, at that time, it was top notch. But prostitution, and prostitution. Yes, man. You would go around the corner, it would be there. And there were no foreigners. At that time, they were foreigners. Let's talk about the drugs. But I don't know. I grew up Cody Model C schools. And we were exposed to these things. I'm trying to say this large influx of the drugs came up after 1994. And during that time, Nerita Mayadi Model C schools. Yes. Am I correct? But we were exposed to those drugs. But we were exposed. But those drugs were there. We were exposed to those drugs. So why all of a sudden are we going to pin a certain particular nation, a certain particular grouping of people, just because we cannot control the situation?
Question A1 though. Question A1 fela ko lemne. O re batlile di drugs di teng, prostitute ngata, di kereke di teng. Na first of all konna, e sound nkare wa generalize. Ke batla botsa something. Community nya hao lona fela. Ke ngele stop about letsa di kereke first of all. Secondly, why unagana re prostitute ke bona fela ba etsang gore go bane di prostitute ka bana ba lona?
90% ya go ke dulang mo area nya ke dulang mo gona are foreigners. 90%, all of them. And then that's why I'm saying prostitute. Nako tsele be re sa khone go lemoga gore mara these days because of this ba bana ba banyane at the age of 11, 12 years. You'll see ngwana a me ko khona right in the corner. Motho wa montle I mean next to yana amugatile gore you sell, then after that I took money whatever you pay from outside. House hijacking. We are facing a lot of house hijacking in Rosettenville. You know what happened? They evict people from, normally they are not South Africans who are doing that. People from outside. And then, community we are trying to stop some of things that we end up the documented whatever to say come and help me. So that's why I'm saying I can understand. Most of the churches, that's why I'm saying, if you Lutheran church in the corner, you see, or no, Lutheran church is in the corner. There are 40 churches in Rosettenville. Still, most of them, third degree, last time they were introducing Corona, TV. Look, they were selling drugs, manufacturing drugs in a church. In a church. But in totally jalor na hardly face a community doesn't mean it causes something, you know, if a affected because when you go to schools, high schools, the Hill High School, Forest High School, teachers are suffering. Banaba school over teacher. Police have to be sent to school each and every week to go and search the school kids. Because banaba drugs. How we share this thing as parents, we share where you'll see this thing is not even in South African.
Aaron, I would want to agree with her. Even as a Nigerian, I want to agree with her. And I will break it down for you. You know, a lot of the drug dealers that she's talking about are Nigerians. I will just break it down that way. I'm Nigerian, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I've had people asking me, as soon as they realize my nationality, are you a drug dealer? But I'm not a drug dealer, you know, but we have a reputation. But one thing I would disagree with you is to try to affiliate a certain nationality to a certain crime. That's where the problem comes in. There's a lot of the churches that you're talking about. There's a lot of Nigerians, and that is legit. She has a great point. But once we begin to see the Malawians or the Zimbabweans, or we begin to see the Nigerians, and begin to deal with it based on nationality, people like me who are very legit would suffer. The nationalities will suffer. When I go to Nigeria, a lot of times people were like, how do you live in Johannesburg? There's so much crime there. You know, there's so much HIV there. And I find myself actually arguing and trying to make sure I reflect South Africa and say, look, that's not the way it is. It's totally different. So, because you don't have to look at people based on their nationality, because crime is always going to be, let's call it the way that it is. It's crime. And these are criminals. They don't belong there. They're supposed to be in jail, or they go back to their country. As easy as that.
So you say we should attack the crime itself and the criminals, not necessarily to generalize.
Drug dealers, not Malawian drug dealer, not Nigerian drug dealer, not Zimbabwean drug dealer. He's a criminal. Overboard.
I mean, obviously, these are crimes. And as she says, you know, they've got evidence because she talks about 90%. Clearly, she knows there's something going on. She's seen it. So you should... Well, I'm saying, but why are they... But you should be reporting these things. If you know them to be happening in the manner in which you say you know them, you should be reporting to the police and giving the evidence you have. You know what I mean?
You report or you don't report. Tell me, I don't know 100% what's going on in that area.
But where are the police? Have you
ever heard Barry Maponisa Baile Bachasela Rosettenville, whatever, ever heard, go articling aids and Rosettenville problem as well. But that's the main area in a lot of things.
But community is taking the wrong problem because there's communities and South Africa from a long time knows how to deal with its own problems. If you have problems, for example, at a school, you go to that school as a community. If you have a problem at a police station that is not doing its job, you go there, you don't start attacking people. But you know, some of the people...
After the break, we'll talk about what do we do, because Gavana, you're very angry, because we're born every day, and obviously we want to protect your kids. We're breaking, we'll tackle some of the issues. What do we then do? Because this is not a problem in Rosettenville only. There are other areas in the country where we're doing. So we're breaking into xenophobic attacks. What do we then do as South Africans? And when are there any attacks in your community? Xenophobic attacks. Go go shift discussion ya tswela pele breaking re bolla ka taba xenophobia because re kwele malobanyana mo go ratsa re keng batho ba bantši ba attack in different communities. The pictures they fly all over social media. Bara batho ba tswang ka ntle ga South Africa mara ile ma Africa santse ba boile gae. Ke go potsa re live go gona go phone 0839133720 or SMS ku 33720 shift at sabc.co.za email yethu ya kwazi fumana ke na social media macala shift on SABC1. Gona le quote le gore Mrena Mandela sala ya bolela no one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People learn to hate. They can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Social media, shubile into app. Go Twitter, Tebo Smokey the Don. I have people I know, friends from outside South Africa, so I just can't unfriend, kill them just like that. No to xenophobia, I'm a foreigner now. And then Duncan Onais Uti, they must go because they came with drugs. Human trafficking in a country, when the people of struggle went to exile, they didn't go with that.
That's what I want to say, Aaron. but what about exile? They never go there to what's a crime. They never go get the fraudulent papers. But I'm straight about the border, but the gate, whatever. They go straight to the borders. They respect each other. They know who mutual respect you, not mutu because ask a respect the only country. It doesn't mean I get a woman right. Okay, I be alone. Unale right who want to but we if mutasa bulena and they must know how to respect each other. They never get grants value go exile. Because of this fraudulent thing, they never even get what you call it this exemption. They after that, after each and everything, exile, they come back home and professional. So now they have to go back home professionally. Banality permitted South Africa, and then after that they go back home.
No, I disagree with you. Actually, when they left South Africa, they left on fraudulent documents because the South African government could not give them documents.
They used Tanzanian passports.
Are you sure about it?
Kenyan passports.
Yes, it's documented, it's history, it's evidence. If it was like documents to go there. Number one. Number two, in terms of grants for education,
you mean
government that come from exile.
They got scholarships.
Actually got scholarships from all of those countries. They studied on those governments' grants.
So you mean government there is the one able to because
I'm not saying that our government is not wrong. I'm not saying that they mustn't do that. I'm not saying that they must do that. I'm not saying that they must do that.
They must
it means it's an indictment on our own government to have proper checking, balance and checking systems to ensure that those documents are actually the correct documents. It means that they must have proper systems in place that will make sure that fraudulent documents are not allowed into this country. The fact that we are complaining with the fraudulent documents, but these people go through our courts.
Okay, I understand.
Based on what? It means our government systems themselves need to fix their own.
That's one thing we have to look at. We have to look at the immigration. We have to look at the police because, to be honest with you, they're helping out.
Okay, for the sake of the microphone, let's give each other a chance. Everybody, yeah.
And I want to say something about a grant. When I was about 9 or 10 years old, growing up in Nigeria, I remember very well on the streets, on the posts of electric lamps and everything, there was a call to donate to the ANC, to South Africa. From my parents, they take 9% of their salary, whether you like it or not. And millions was given to South Africa. People like Thabo Mbeki lived in Nigeria. A lot of people don't know it because you have to be on the ground. Scholarships was given to them. They go to university, they provide them with housing, they give them allowance to be there. So on the side of grant, I'm not gonna agree with you. But on the side of fraudulent documents, that I would agree with you. Though people like Mandela traveled on fraudulent documents and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, that is not supposed to mean you will come from Malawi with fraudulent documents. And also, remember, like she said, you go through the ports. Who would I blame? I would think I'm going to blame the police. I'm going to blame the immigration services because they are aiding xenophobia. You come and you have some money, cash, you give it to them, you go through
you bribe.
And you bribe them, and then you come in here, your papers are expired, you go to Home Affairs in Soweto or downtown in the CBD of Johannesburg, you give them a bribe and you get your papers correct. Or you get to be married to somebody. That's crime we're talking about here.
I'm a bit worried because up to this point, it sounds like a dominant voice. There's a lot of negative things that non-nationals are doing. And we must remember, it's not a solution to say that they must go. Absolutely not. And I think the majority...
And also to assume what every one of them is doing wrong things.
And I think the majority of South Africans will never agree with the fact that non-nationals should leave the country. But secondly, I think there's a big problem here. I mean, we opted, when we had the political change in South Africa, we opted to go for a constitutional democracy. If there is a specific problem that exists, there are specific ways in which you are supposed to deal with them. And being violent against those particular people is not one of the solutions. And the biggest issue that I think we need to warn ourselves against is this one. Yaore, today, it's hatred and violence against foreign nationals. Tomorrow is going to be against a certain other group of people. Next time is going to be certain religious group. Next time is going to be against women. Next time is going to be against people with disabilities. So if we allow it to take place now, Oslevo, and we decide it's okay to be violent against non-nationals because honali crime associated in Lebanon, and we decide the solution is to chase them out of our communities. What is next? what is next? Next
also
is
it's
going to
already
be,
happening
you know,
in many ways, actually.
people with albinism, for instance. Communities have got certain hatreds against different kinds of groups of people, but that accepting that and understanding that, we need to deal with it, but chasing them out of our communities and harming them is not one of the solutions.
One of the things that is important to recognize is exactly the thing that Hamad is saying. So if you have, for example, come from the Eastern Cape or Mkosa, there's already all sorts of myths, which many of the arguments she actually has are based on myths and not so much on reality or the truth. So for example, they say, you know, Xhosa women are loose and they take money from men here. And when you get to that point in which now we form a hate, so there are so many Xhosa women in our area that, you know, and all the men are liking Xhosa women, suddenly we must attack them. It is not really the truth. And we, therefore, as a Xhosa person, I'm worried living in Johannesburg because somebody's going to say, you know, basuka bonke Eastern Cape bafika apha bathathe imisebenzi yethu. And there's the bad thing about that language is the idea of umsebenzi, that I suppose this also comes from our history. In the past 21 years, we were promised jobs. There's no such thing as your job. Nobody actually has ownership of a job that you didn't get. It is the wrong language completely. And actually it's the kind of language that is being used against us in many ways by what people who are talking about the fact that now they are being excluded from their jobs. That we work, and many times the foreigners have come to look for opportunities, to look for work. And they've found work, whether the work is on the streets or whether it's opening a shop. Or we
you take skills from them. I mean, you find, I've always said, you know, one thing that I've learned from foreign nationals is that they are able to take whatever situation and turn it into opportunity. Go to them and find out, what can I do? What is it that you guys are doing right? I'm always asking my hairstylists, these guys in the hair salons, you guys, you come here with nothing but a paper bag. But when you leave in 2 years' time, you've got bags full of money.
And 3 months later,
what is it that you are doing that we are not doing right?
Yebo njani?
Ngwana unjani futhi?
Ngiyaphila. Ukhuluma noJet Malinzi lapha eSasolburg.
Okay.
Yebo. Leli ndaba ye-xenophobia siyazi by ama-politicians ayiblowe out of proportions.
Right.
Ama-politician afune ukugeyina ama-points ngabantu okungadingeki. Hello sis.
Ngikumamela.
Hello sis. I-comment yami yasisi wami ithi abantu abaphuma ngaphandle, we don't have any problem ngabo. Kodwa thina i-problem esinayo ukuthi i-country yethu mayize kuqala makungabhekwe ama-interest wama-foreigners than abantu be-original abahlala kule country esihlala kuyo. Ama-politician afune ukugeyina ama-political points wabo ngabantu abaphuma ngaphandle. I-crime imisebenzi ephelayo ipheliswa ngabantu abaphuma ngaphandle, and therefore i-government ngithi ayikhulumi lutho ngalokho. Angisho ukuthi abantu maba-attack noma mababulawe in any form and in any way, but abantu basina sibe ne-reality, i-country yethu izaqala. I-country yethu abantu bakithi abasebenzi, asinamisebenzi.
Ngicela ukubuza bhuti, because of isikhathi ngicela ukubuza, are you saying ukuthi thina i-government yethu inikeza abantu abaphuma ngaphandle ku-South Africa ama-opportunities more than ama-South Africans? Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Excuse me, what they are doing. Ukuthi ngoba ke sinama example ama-protest ama-sales protesters. Kufa abantu abangaki kodwa i-country ayikazi ime njengakuba imile kwamanje. I-country imile in 21 xenophobia. Kufa abantu abangaki lapha. Abantu abama-protest for years kufa abantu abangaki. Abantu abaningi abafayo. But because of this abantu ama-foreigners, the whole country imile. This is something is prioritized ama-foreigners than abantu ama-citizens wakhona.
All right, Sukuzile, but thanks for the comment. Ne? All right.
I personally think that politicians in the country have not done enough for xenophobia. I think after we've heard a war cry from everybody else, then that's when we started seeing our politicians taking the baton to say enough to xenophobia. Let's fight against xenophobia. And then that's when we started we started seeing the spate of marches that have actually followed. I disagree with the caller to say politicians have taken this issue and they've blown it out of proportion. It's incorrect to say that. Politicians, as far as I'm concerned, even our own government, is not doing enough to curb the scourge of xenophobia. First of all, xenophobia, in my opinion, and Afrophobia, is institutionalized. You look at the way that the marriage between a foreign national and a South African is managed in the country. Immediately when a foreign national marries a local citizen, it's for citizenship. No matter how legitimate that marriage is. You find people being invaded because they want to authenticate their
I know, and then it's a
violation of human rights.
My own sister married a French man. You cannot believe it took 6 months ukufumana emery certificate any citizenship
Imagine.
6 months for what?
For what?
Abanye
Because they are
abantu, it
worried
takes about
ukuthi-
3 weeks.
Yeah, I understand. So you realize that the whole process in itself is institutionalized. You come with foreign, you come with our police systems. They stop a they never stop a South African. But when they see you with a darker hue, you are stopped because you are assumed that you are from Mozambique. You are from Mozambique.
Before television, I think it was 2001. Before I got into television, Dabuza, man, go up.
Mozambique, but
Babus.
Because of my complexion is that we're not introspecting. So skesi sijonge ngokwethu ba ngubani othenga drugs. Umuntu xa zokuthengisela into ehlele kone nafika zokuthengisela drugs. Sisi ngabantwana benu, ngabayeni benu, zibrothers zethu ezithenga drugs. So we should say why are we still buying them? We are selling the shops. It's our people abasign documents for a grant. They don't corruption does not they don't self-corrupt. But tata nat batete nat isasane sivume. So those things are
Okay. Let's go to Peter Rachero Bolifeni. Hey. Hello.
Hi, you guys come.
Ke teng kae Osi?
Ke teng. We see it is na go tla se go thata ba ke like xenophobia thing ne. Ke go ka mahae tsaga ne. Ba mo ditse ka tsaga. Like le ausa ka lo ngwana go hae.
Yeah.
But then no, bana ba go hae ba ba phone sekolo because makula a re sa let do le ka mahae ne. And then batho ba go bontse le ka ba le tshaba go notla ba tlo kopela gore le re tseneng ka mosephatse se leng gore lena ne le operate ka bosona gore rena re rekise. So bana ke problem ya ka eo. Like a ke lo le maforina a maotlhe ke lo le ba ile gore ba try go isa di business tsa South African. Ke problem ya ka eo.
Alright, ra leboga ke Rose. So uthena aka luna laba ulwela ukuthi laba abawisa, for example, let's say githi kune shop umama and then ngapha amakula bani shop, and then obviously angithi sazi ukuthi masestrateni si1 kune shop ama price kumele azama ukuthi alingane. So yena ukhalela ukuthi laba abanye nabo uthola ukuthi bona baba cheaper, and then mina uthola ukuthi umama isinkwa i20 and lawyer i10.
Can I quickly answer that? I've got a friend who actually saw that problem.
Right.
And I hopefully, his name is Busikha Debe. He created an app allowing spaza shop owners in the townships to buy together, to buy in bulk. It's an app, to buy in bulk so that they can compete.
Yeah.
So you can't use, what I'm trying to say is you can't keep using that as an excuse. You go to them, yes, I agree, it's unfair what they do, but what they do is they buy in bulk. And what they have a network where they say, mangabe uthi Fanta Orange ayithengwa kwakho, mina kwamlulu iyathengwa Fanta Orange. So we're going to swap stocks around. So you're still selling my Fanta Orange, only difference that it comes from your shop. So they've got a network.
It's a nature of business.
It's a nature of business.
It's a nature of business. Let me go to break quickly. SABC needs to advertise for business as well. You're going to break. What solutions are out there? Singakala, understand the land because citizen of Xenophobia and Afrophobia and abanye bathi actually are young londo. Funa sithinike ngokusinga abantu to begin to understand and to shift our mindsets ngalento le. Class boy. Shift, SABC Education and PC Training and Business College are giving away 10 full bursaries worth over 250,000 Rand. The bursaries include qualifications in higher education and training, as well as technical and vocational education. For over 25 years, more than 130,000 learners have put their trust in PC Training and Business College to learn the skills to succeed in today's workplace. At PC Training and Business College, students receive most of their study material preloaded on nifty tablet PCs. All campuses have free Wi-Fi. SMS now and make your dream career a reality. This competition is brought to you by PC Training and Business College. Your future is in your hands.
All right, questionnaire competition when is Shift broadcast live every week? Is it A, Saturday and Sunday? Is it B, Thursday and Friday? Is it C, Monday and Tuesday? You can SMS albito la how your surname as well as Shiftly answer ho 33720. SMS you cost a fella R1.50 and you can win a prize to tell certificate for 1 year fella. Just R1.50.
From PC Training and Business College. All right, itopic namhlanje ke mntasaka asithi xenophobia kudala isenzeka sivile kweziveke ezidlule into bana wena aphuhlele khona kwe community kwenza kantoni na bayathetha ke abantu kwi Facebook. Razel Chokofato Toka, are some years to come South Africa will be ruled by a foreign president just like America being ruled by Barack Obama. They must return back home to their countries. And then given Pago Artobela, Mohorna and Ambiele Kama Africa Bora, Wachusha, Hobencha or Hatel Arena, we are mentally enslaved. And then Limise Noma Tamsanga Stolati. Kute nisine ngakina abantu abangaphandle sithi baze ne crime in a country kodwa bafike icrime ikho kweli lethu sixakene nabethu abantwana abahlala emakonini bezi robbery housebreaking zonke ezo zinto kutheni sinengxaki nabantu bangaphandle.
Yeah. All right, areko KZN ribueli Sabelo.
Hello, unjani?
Ukhona kunjani futhi?
Ngiyatshela ngakho. Sikwenza nje i-comment. I think South Africa as a nation is in a mess because you find that abantu abaninzi abathandani, and you find like Africa right now, I think there are people abaninzi like get because I belong to this certain area in South Africa. I don't have anything common with abantu abahlala especially country. So I think maybe we can and then we can be able to accommodate abantu abazobana like okay, much love because thina bhala ingxaki.
Yeah. Ilana ibed Sabela ukwazi ukuthi ushifte kancane sokwazi ukuzwa ne?
Okay, ngizama ukushift.
Yeah.
No matter ushilo i-point yakhe we kind of got the gist of it. Thanks siyabonga Sabelezo.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, cool. Khamidi Rutoma Kaika solution. Where do we start?
Firstly, dialoguing is always very important. We have to have a dialogue. That's the first thing. But there's a few other things. You know, government needs to play its role. Communities need to play, their role. Parents need to play a more active role. And there really is nothing wrong, Gauri. The community should organize themselves, not exclusively as South Africans, because there's a whole lot of people who come from other countries who disagree with the crime that happens everywhere. And I think it's important to also emphasize, crime doesn't really have nationality. Everyone, regardless of where you come from, it is possible that you could become a criminal, either a criminal or a victim of that particular crime. If you look at a lot of Zimbabweans, a lot of Mozambicans, and other people from neighboring countries, they also do have stories. Victims of the crime in many ways. So crime hasn't faced one but I don't the one thing I think the discourse promote especially camera this attacks we owe neighboring countries and other African countries good hospitality because whenever hostile. That could be true. That's very true, of course. But we owe them a good treatment because they are human beings, not because because banebari treatile handle bona. Whether, for instance, the soccer teams, they go to African countries a lot of times, and they come back reporting banebasa tswara handle. That doesn't mean that now because banebasa tswara handle tshwantse re tlo ba tshwara hampe batho ba ba batla mona. So it's not about we owing foreign fellow African countries hospitality because they looked after us, but it's because they are fellow human beings, they are fellow Africans.
Nana solution Nikki.
Aaron, can I cough out something before Rekwala? Whatever nakinali problem. I'm not saying but whatever I understand. Go community are realizing to hatred. You don't want this, you don't want these people, and we can't do anything because that's what I'm saying. Community is, and then 90% is from outside.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm saying is when I'm talking about like we cover out the bylaws, the tax shops and stuff. You know, a long time ago we used to have bylaws in tax shop. But these days, people from outside they buy houses. After you buy a house, you put a tax shop in front of your house. Almost one street to create the tax shop was 10 at the same time. And then at the end of the day, you can't say anything. You call the police, you ask the police, what's going on in this house? You call station commander to say, look, what's happening in that house since too? No, they're busy searching. Searching what? At the end of the day, we know drugs and no solution, and they're still going there.
What I understand,
it's fine about it.
Identify the problem crime, drugs and everything else, and report. So promo police hides in next not because my foreigners are intentional.
Yes, They don't do anything. That's
Lulu?
the problem. And
I
let
actually
me
think-
can I finish first?
Go 20 seconds.
50 seconds.
Mara utlwile point, please. Yeah.
It's, you know, it's not enough to march. We've been marching. I mean, really, after marching, what then?
Yeah.
After we finish marching, since these people go back to the same problems, same community that we're faced with. Yes, it's
Same
about
community that we
yeah,
face,
yeah. It's about having a dialogue.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's
thank
also
you so
about
much.
creating.
We need 3 hours to have this dialogue. All we had was only an hour to Mutimo. Icho into mnasekhaya, icho in many ways, bana umntu ngumntu ngabantu, umuni imuni ibani, mutu ke mutu kabathu. Musicians got together, le bona ba re le nna ke le lentswe la rena as musicians gore stop xenophobia. Next on Shift, office romance gone wrong.
I'm a boss.
Nanzo sharp.
Nkosi, sekeleli Afrika, maluphakanyiswe uphondo lwayo. Yizwa imithandazo yethu. This is our dream and wish for Africa. We must never forget our wish. We can never take our dream for granted. Let us come together and build a united Africa.
Stop, take a look at ourselves. We were created to be something great, not hating. Brothers and sisters join hands, celebrating what we have in common as humans.
I wish for a better world where people are smiling everywhere, where there's no more pain and suffering, children happy as can be, no more wars, just peace and loving. No more wars, just peace and loving, yeah.
My name is Asim from foreign lands. I'm a Somalian to be specific if I can. I left the dreaded land of oppression and I ran. I was looking for a heaven, but in hell is where I am. I don't understand when we got to be this bad. They be tearing up my store after shooting me in my head. All in the name of bread, but now my vision is dead. I just wanna go back home instead.
It's bloodshed, cause sons and daughters of Africa are slaughtered and massacred. I can't just sit back like I was sort of a passenger. And who the hell are you calling a for? And after all, forget the statues, it's the borders that have to fall. My name is Abdul, brother, what have I done to you? My country is at war and I thought that I could run to you. History said that I've spread nothing but love to you. Not a tie around your neck or put a gun to you.
World where people are smiling everywhere, where there's no more pain and suffering, children